Hello there, dear Sacred Hearts. I'm Monica Bermudez, an intuitive quantum energy healer, and I'm back for another love wisdom message channel directly from my sacred heart and into the collective as a whole, as well as to what wants to come through for this week and a theme that I've been noticing and feeling and tuning into and just wanting to express it right now in this love wisdom message. So I want to talk about the whole thing with the lack versus the abundant mentality and about putting your heart into it. Because really, as many scientists have found, the heart actually has the same amount of neurons that the brain has. And so they're referring to the heart as a mini brain. And so a lot of times there's been a lot of this, lack mentality of, thinking in a poor way. And so with the energies being so quantum right now, I mean, this month, and I'm just going to start with a little bit of astrology for a little bit, and then, jump into the message itself for this, interweave it, because they all interweave and relate to each other. And just feeling that there's been a lot of the collective energy of this heaviness going on. There's been layers of grief being released as well because of the planets that were in retrograde. There were about 3, I believe, and one of them just went direct, which is Uranus just went direct. And Uranus is all about the freedom planet. It's all about liberation and about the future and about time being accelerated. And so as we are, stepping forward, we want to liberate ourselves from these old, limiting patterns and beliefs that in a way, takes us, hostage, takes our brain hostage in a way of creating these lack in mentalities. And so there is this calling from within that says, enough is enough, and you already are abundant. And that part is coming from your own heart, because when you really put your heart into the matter of things, when you connect your heart with your own thought patterns, you become this very powerful being that you already are. But it is because of the times that we've had in the different human lifetimes and the human roles that we have acted out and played on a different stage and experience all sorts of trauma, pain, or love, or anything else of pleasure. It's a combination of all these things, right? And we all carry an accumulation of all that inside of us, in our every cell, and really engraved in us at a very subconscious level and pattern. And so because with these energies that are streaming into Earth right now in a very quantum level, that is hitting our every DNA as well, and activating as well as purifying and cleansing needs to happen in that process of the activation. So you will feel that at times there will be these certain body aches, like my right shoulder sometimes will act up a little bit, or you may feel certain exhaustion of like sleep and just wanting to go to sleep. And there was a time that I was feeling a lot of that I was feeling that I just needed to sleep longer. And that's when I know that the energies are definitely very intense and coming in much stronger in a much more quantum level. And that's really how it's feeling for this year. It's like jump starting and kicking off. I mean, we're still in January. We're at towards the end of January, but it just feels like we've been in some very intense squeezing quantum level of energies going on everywhere. And a lot of people are feeling it. And so with, the planet Uranus, I could feel that there was a sudden shift when it went into direct. And so when the planet, is back into its direct movement, that's a forward movement going ahead. As before, when it was in retrograde, there was a lot of this internal processing that was occurring as well. And so all that was impacting all the energies of the ascension and what has been, coming in from the universe itself, because we are part of the universe and we hold a lot of the universe inside of us. So there's just so much to explore in us, so much to learn from ourselves. And the more that you really heal and dig into yourself and become more aware of yourself and really just, keep digging deeper, you will just have a much deeper awakening as well. And now there are many layers of this awakening, that occur. So don't expect that when you have awakened that you're done with everything. I just feel like there's just so much more, that wants to come through. And there's always some moment of revelation that will come up for you and, myself, for us. And, with those revelations, those aha moments, comes this breakthrough, and could be many breakthroughs. And now with the awakening is also forms of rebirth. And we could be rebirthing ourselves in all different ways. And could be a rebirth of us being this renewed state of being more heart filled to step into our abundance. Because, see, the thing is, you already are abundant. The key is to really start owning that fact and know it and just be it. So a lot of times, and this is, occurs in a very subconscious level, is that when we're venting, we're also sending a lot of those energy waves out. And I mean, it's okay to vent every once in a while if you just wanted to release it, but don't dwell on it. The minute that you dwell on it too much and overdo it, then it just sounds like a broken record. And then the energy just gets focused on that, whether it's lack, whether it's, abundant, because energy goes wherever you focus on. And so energy is everywhere, right? We are made of energy. The universe is energy. The key is focus on what is abundant. And also when you oftentimes when people think of abundance, they think it's external, but honestly it's really inside of you. So the minute that you really realize that you have that abundance inside of you, it will be a very liberating feeling, and just knowing that and just being it. Of course, it's not an easy thing to do, right? It could be very challenging at times when we have been so conditioned and programmed, when we just become so habitual that we don't even realize that we have this lack mindset on things, and that our thoughts are having all these lacking type of words. For instance, like feeling like you're not enough and not having enough. All of those are a type of lack mentality. Or the fact that not knowing, or just keep saying, I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill, I don't know how I'm going to get this money to get some improvement around here in my house. And so we're always thinking in this mentality of lack. And so I just want to challenge you right now and just say, the minute that you really start to feel this, I want you to really just do something different and shift it into this abundance. But when you make that shift, I want you to just, my recommendation is to focus on your heart and bring in your own focus, your own heart energy into that abundance, and to really feel it with this passion that you are the abundance. And so that is, when you challenge yourself, it also pushes you into this awakening state as well. And it helps you with the ascension, because the ascension is about the higher frequencies. So remember is that when you keep your high vibes, that's the way you can, navigate smoothly through these energies of ascension and really put your heart into it. Just feel into that moment, feel the rhythm of your own heart, and just feel like, when you start to say these words like, I don't have enough to, I don't know how I'm going to pay the bill, feel your heart. Your heart will feel just like constrained, like it just squeeze, you know, like when it closes up, and it feels like it does not in the heart. So just really feel into that, and you know, you could really start to get to know your body that way too, because your body is like an instrument, and it really reacts to everything that you say and do as well. And so, you know, it's kind of like the water scientist who did Emoto, you know, where he did the whole experiments with the water, and he would put words on the water, and the water would form these crystalline structures to them. So if he had the word love, then it would be like the most beautiful crystalline design of this, you know, water crystal that would take formation. But when he would have the word hate, it would be like this very heinous formation that had like no form whatsoever. But when it came to other words, you know, or even prayers or healing to the water, it would form the most beautiful sacred geometrical shapes in themselves. So apologize, I can't remember his name too well sometimes, but he's a Japanese person who did these experiments a long time ago, and his work has been known everywhere. I'll post it on my Facebook, some of his examples, and I just love his work because it explains a lot in us. You know, we are made mostly of water, right? I would say like maybe 80% or 90% or so. And with the fact that when we are, you know, thinking about something, we are feeding that into our own water state, and our body is consuming it. And so that's why it is so important to really pay attention to how your body reacts to when you say certain words. Now let's go back to that example where you say, I don't know how I'm going to pay, you know, for this bill. And let's shift that into saying, I have plenty of what I need. I have plenty of everything, and the universe provides for me. Then you just feel into your heart. It feels much more lessened and lighter. So in other words, be like lighthearted. So you're bringing in more light into your heart. And of course, you know, you want to always focus your energy in that and feed yourself with these uplifting, you know, abundant words. You know, you work on some affirmations yourself that would help you, you know, uplift yourself, and really do that inner work and really feel into the heart and how the heart feels with that. That's what I mean by put your heart into it, of this message, you know, with that. And so that's something that I did when I went through my divorce, you know, and this could be applied to any like romantic relationship as well, right? So I started with my own affirmations of just looking at my own worth, looking at my own self-love, and really building up on myself inwardly, right? Rather than looking external and focusing on the victim energy of things or what other people would think or project on me, when I really needed to work this in myself and putting all those components together, because what it was creating were these fracture states where, you know, when you also start to think to external outside, creates these real fractured states of like they're just fractured in time. So it's almost like little pieces of shattered, you know, from the heart, which is why I focus so much on the heartbreak. But really, it's also heartbreaking when you start to really put yourself down or think in this mentality of lacking. And so you're really just breaking your heart all over again. So that is why when you really start to shift those energy and those patterns, whether it be through a romantic relationship, whether it be through your own divine mission, your purpose, and really building on your own worth and building on your own love, you really start to uplift and bring yourself into these higher vibrational energies. And that will really assist you in the ascension itself, is to really keep your high vibes with that, you know, to ride these waves of these tsunamis. So I recently heard an amazing story where, you know, this happened. This is a true story. And speaking of tsunamis, right, where there was this volcano eruption in the Pacific Ocean, And there was one man who really, the tsunami immediately came through the island, and this one man was hanging onto a tree. And so he got swept away, of course, by the tsunami into the ocean. But he ended up swimming. He couldn't use his legs. He only used his arms. For he swam for like more than 24 hours, island to island, till he found help. And so to me, this is like a perfect example of your own heart strength and your own resilience, determination. When you put your heart into something, his determination was he really wanted to see his family. And so I just found this so amazing story, that his survival, from that. And so this is an example of like, did he think, I'm just going to just give up here and and just, what am I going to do? But instead he just kept moving forward, and kept going. And he kept having this abundant, self. He put the heart there with his own mind, together, when they worked together. And he ended up, finding the help with that determination of his own heart of, wanting to survive. And he was very determined to do that. And so, I share this story because it happens to us in life when we get hit by these tsunamis of like energies, right? Tsunamis of like some grief. Somebody's left my life, and then this whole tsunami of grief hits you. So what do? Do you just say, I just give up, I'm just gonna stay there? Or do you just keep swimming forward, and just go, so I always like to use that motto, go forward and go upward, and put your heart into those things. Don't break your heart over and over again and keep it into this broken record of breaking hearts. Break that cycle, break that pattern. And so just know that, if I can do it, if anybody else can do it, I know you can do it. And so these are, the messages of encouragement that I want to share with you, that wanted to come through for this love wisdom message. But if you haven't really checked out that story, I highly recommend it. It is an amazing story. I mean, I was just so astonished by it. And so I will be catching you then on the next love wisdom message. And then, every week, as you know, like some of you know, every week on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I do come on Facebook Live, and then I post it in my YouTube channel. So some of you may be watching this on YouTube. And I will be also posting some other messages on YouTube. So please subscribe and like if you're watching it on YouTube, and share with others the messages as well. And Shavana, hello, thank you for being here live. It's always a pleasure to see you. And so anyway, so any comments you may have, please share. And I will be connecting with you very soon. Sending you all so much love. Bye for now.